Hey there, Mama, and welcome back to the Moms Overcoming Overwhelm podcast, episode number 208. I'm Emily McDermott, and I'm here beside you on this journey as we work together to declutter your home, head, and heart. Today, I am bringing you kind of a fun episode all about the 13 apps that keep me organized and clutter free. And even though our phones are both a blessing and a curse, which I recently heard the word blurse, which is supposed to encompass both of those things, I have found several tools that have made keeping my life organized much easier. So I'm very excited to share those with you. So, what do you say? Grab that notebook and pen, and let's dive into today's episode. Okay, well, we are going to dive into all of these apps now, and you can find everything that you need to know about them in the show notes. I wanted to start by saying I am an iPhone user. My husband is very big into the Apple products, so I don't think I could even get an Android if I wanted to. Because everything in our home tends to run on Apple products. So you'll notice that. And of course, there are obviously Android equivalents. So you can research those if for some reason I'm mentioning something that is specifically Apple, which brings me to app number one, which is Apple Notes. So I use this not only just for taking notes, but also for documents. So it's very easy to scan documents, and that is actually the electronic location where I keep all of my documents for myself and my family. So, for example, if we go to a medical appointment and I get an invoice and then I pay for the copay, I'm keeping that information in a medical file for myself or my children. I also use the tagging feature within Apple Notes so that I can quickly look things up by tag as well. And it has just really helped me. And if you check out the show notes, I do have a quick tutorial about how I use it. I also use it for my kids' artwork. So we do have a limited area where we display artwork, but then for anything that needs to be scanned, you can do that really easily with your phone. And then I keep it within a folder in Apple Notes and can access it easily. Moving on to number two is AnyList. So my husband and I have used AnyList for a long time. It's kind of fun because you can share lists, and before kids, we would go to the grocery store, we would divide and conquer, and you could actually see each other crossing things off the list. It was kind of like a little bit of a game for us. Now I do grocery pickup, but it is helpful because you can save your favorites for anything, but especially for groceries. I love their ability to import any recipe from the web and very easily import into the app. So that way you don't have to worry about any sort of ads or anything distracting on the recipe websites. And I also use it for packing lists. So anytime we're going on vacation, I have packing lists that I can access. It makes it so much easier since I'm still packing not only for myself, but also for the boys as well. So number three is Google Calendar. I use this a ton when it comes to any kind of planning that I have for the upcoming week. And if you listen to the Systemize Your Life podcast with Chelsea Joe, she talks about a hybrid system of using a paper planner and also Google Calendar, and including what she calls fundamental needs within the Google Calendar. So that might include exercise or meal planning or doing to-dos in one block of time. I also put my work blocks, so anytime I'm recording a podcast episode or working in person with a decluttering client, I'll put that in there too. But my husband and I, we each have our personal calendars that we share with each other. That way we know what kind of meetings we have, so he knows when I have a podcast interview scheduled, for example. We also have our family calendar, so anything that involves all of us when it comes to Sean has a swim lesson or something like that. And then there are obviously some calendars that we subscribe to so that we don't have to duplicate efforts. So for the kids, for their soccer games, there is something called Team Snap, and we're able to import those into Google. So we try to have that be the one hub where everything is. Obviously, if you have older kids, they might be able to have their own calendars so that you can sync it with theirs as well. But I just find that it's a really helpful tool. And then usually on Sunday, I'm taking a look at what's coming up the upcoming week and being able to talk to my husband about that so we're all on the same page. Number 4 is ChatGPT, but maybe not for the reasons that you would think. So even though I do my meal planning, sometimes something happens where I think I defrosted something, but I didn't, and I need a little bit of emergency help. Or I thought that I had an ingredient, and so I didn't end up getting it at the store, and then, oops, turns out I don't have it, and there's no way I'm going out at 4 o'clock to try to find it. So sometimes with ChatGPT, I will say, hey, these are the recipes, or excuse me, these are the ingredients that I have. Can you help me make a meal from this? It's worked out really well. Also, if there's any kind of bottlenecks or anything that's happening with your routines and you're trying to figure out how to kind of change your routine, it's something that you can use as a brainstorming tool to really help you with that. Another kind of fun hack I use it for is if my kids are getting a little squirrely, maybe we're at dinner out somewhere, I'll ask them to give me prompts for ideas for a story. So give me 4 things, kind of like Mad Lib style. So I want a story about an astronaut bear who robs a bank. I don't know. And you can put that in ChatGPT and say, can you tell me a story about this? And then it'll immediately come up with the story, and then you can read it. And then the next person can kind of find out their fun prompts. So that's another kind of fun way to use it. Number 5 is Opal. So I've been using Opal now. Well, I'm on a streak. I feel like it's 220 some days, but I have determined in advance, and I have the free version. So I think you can have maybe 3 or 4 focus times that you say, okay, between this time and this time, I don't want access to these particular apps. So for me, I do it in the morning during work time. I do it during dinner time until the kids' bedtime, and then I have Sunday morning and I think also maybe Saturday morning. And I do not have access to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, those types of things. So it's really helped me to not just mindlessly scroll and to just be more intentional. And it's kind of cool. It gives you a weekly report to tell you how many years of your life you're getting back by not being on these apps all the time. So that's really been helpful. Okay, so moving on to number 6, that would be Google Photos, which I use for my long-term photo storage, but something I do on a daily basis actually within my phone, which is Apple Photos, is that I look to see what photos were taken for that day. Any kind of duplicates or screenshots I get rid of. And then I learned about this from an interview done with Miss Freddie. She is a photo organization expert, and she talks about this idea of the daily delete. So you can go ahead and search in whatever app you use for your photo storage and search. The time of recording for this is September 16th. So I'm going to search September 16th, not give any sort of year, and then it'll pull up all of the photos that I took on September 16th. It's kind of fun to see like what you did on this day type of thing, but also you can delete any of the duplicates or anything that you don't want anymore. And it's a way daily you can kind of clean up your photos, which I find for a lot of people very overwhelming. Okay, next we're going to move on to number 7. And number 7 is Meister Task. Now, I use this mostly for my business. So it's not necessarily something that would be personal organization. It's more so business organization. But wanted to mention it here. It's something that was also recommended by Chelsea Jo Moore, and I'm in her Systemized to Scale program. And so all of the workflows that she has when it comes to clients or content and any of those things, they're built within Meister Task. So it really helps me kind of stay on track. You might have heard of things like Trello or Asana. Those are similar, but that's something that you could also use for any kind of personal projects that you have going on. Instead of having like the random sticky notes or having things all over the place, you can actually have project cards that you work through. Number 8 is sort of a combo of the Kindle app and also Libby. So Libby is where you can take ebooks out through the library, and I use it almost all the time. I only have 1 or 2 physical books, and we just found out or realized today my husband doesn't have any. He uses his Kindle pretty much exclusively. So it's a way that I've really cut down on book clutter and just like having more books than I would ever read. I find like some people, they love to have their physical books, and if that's you, go for it. But for me, it's not as important. And so that way I'm able to also save money by borrowing books and just using it through the Libby app. And then sometimes you can read it through Kindle or the Libby app. Regardless, it's something that I have been really enjoying and use all the time. Okay, number 9. I hope I had the numbers right. I'm realizing on my notes the numbers were wrong. So hopefully I'm on number 9. Is 1Password. And this is the system my husband and I use for our passwords. And we've been using it for years. You can have a personal vault. That's what they call it, a vault, just for yourself. Or you can have a shared one. And some things you might want to just have your password for yourself, but other things you want to share with your spouse or partner. So it's been really, really helpful. Don't have a notebook of passwords that I could possibly lose, and it is very secure and encrypted and all the things. So it's something that I use constantly because you want to have those strong passwords and you want to make sure that other people can access it too. So also when it comes to the potential for our spouses something to happen to them, which we don't like to think about, but you want to be able to log in to their different apps as well when it comes to finances or medical or any of these types of things. So it's really helpful to have that information. Okay, moving on to number 10. That is the timer app on my phone and on my watch too. Honestly, I use it a lot on my watch. So sometimes I have in my mind that something is going to take a really long amount of time. And so I don't do it. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's going to take me 15 minutes to unload the dishwasher. And do you know how long it takes me to unload the dishwasher? Like 3 minutes. But sometimes I will use the timer app so that I can actually know how long it takes, so that I can then plan and know, okay, well, dishwasher is only 3 minutes, so you can actually do that while you're heating up your water for your tea, or cleaning the bathroom only takes about 10 minutes, so you can kind of block that time. I also use it with my kids a lot when it comes to, okay, this is how much time we're doing this, and then we're going to move on to this. So I use it as a parent quite a bit too. And the next one is kind of similar. It's the Reminders app. So I use the Reminders app for several recurring things. For example, remembering to take my vitamins every day, remembering to put out the kids' vitamins, but also they have library days, different days. My oldest is now playing an instrument. So just kind of helping me make sure, okay, what is going in which backpack, what time. Also Sunday night, a reminder to add money to their meal accounts because they like to buy lunch. So all of those are very helpful for me. And I have mostly recurring reminders. There are some reminders that I have that are one time, but for the most part, they are recurring. Okay. So here we go. We're on to number 12, and I'm realizing that I think I had 12 or 13. I don't know. It's fine. There's so many fun things. Well, number 12/13, I guess, are the podcast app within Apple Podcasts, or whatever podcast app you use is great. And some of my favorite podcasts to listen to are Systemize Your Life, It's About Time, and actually Anna Dearman Cormick, who is the host of that podcast. I believe I have her scheduled for it to come out next week, my interview with her. I also really like Want to Be Clutter-Free, and we had Deanna Yates on the podcast before. So I also have several decluttering playlists of this show. So maybe you're a mom with ADHD, or maybe you need some decluttering motivation. Perhaps you want to get your kids and family on board. So I'm going to have in the show notes where you can find all of those playlists, and then you can go ahead and listen to anything specific, because now that we have 208 episodes, there are a lot to choose from. And then, like I said, it was 12/13. The 13th is Spotify, but not for listening to podcasts, but you could listen to podcasts there. I actually have a few music playlists to help encourage you with decluttering. So much fun. I have a secular one and then also a Christian based one with Christian music, all about making room for what matters and really saying bye 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 to the clutter and all those things. So I'll make sure to link those in the show notes. And I have one bonus for you, which is not an app, but something I use. It's a Chrome extension on my browser, which is called News Feed Eradicator. And I use that for Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I think you can also use it for LinkedIn, but it actually will remove the news feed. So when you go to the website, it just shows a motivational quote, not all of these things for you to look at. So you can actually focus and get to what you want. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't exist for the apps on your phone, but I use Opal for that. And between the two, it's really helped me quite a bit. So to recap, let's go ahead. We are going to review the 13, and of course I number things wrong, so love me. The 13 apps that keep me organized and clutter-free, just as a recap. Number 1, Apple Notes. Number 2, AnyList. Number 3, Google Calendar. Number 4, ChatGPT. Number 5, Opal. Number 6, Apple/Google Photos. Number 7, MeisterTask. Number 8, Kindle/Libby. Number 9, 1Password. Number 10, the Timer app. Number 11, the Reminders app. Number 12, Podcast app. And number 13, Spotify for the music playlist. And the bonus is the News Feed Eradicator. So I hope that was helpful. Really appreciate you being here as we are celebrating 3 years on the podcast, moving into the next year. And as long as you'll have me, I am happy to share all of these tips and tricks to help you be more organized and enjoy a clutter-free life. So thanks so much for listening, and I will see you next week. Bye for now.